You might just ask me, why didn't I did any review for the past couple of days? That could be quite an interesting story. But the fact is, no, whatever you consume from the media and the newsprint should evoke an interest to create a story. So I could not create any stories for the past couple of days because the paper almost revolved around certain issues. Either it was related to President Trump or was related to his immigrant policy and the suffering of an individual child and by the lunatic people in asylum, or it had so much to do with the trade embargo which Americans are trying to put into China and China's indifference on these embargoes, and is the Chinese tactful way of dealing with things their own way, or it had to do with the demonstration against extradition in Hong Kong. So these news has so much to do with the way world is getting into a big turmoil eventually, because it had stories against the morality and the people suffering of the people at the same time. But today's issue on New York Times had really sparked my conscience to create some story for you to digest. So this relates to the lost and found topic. It revolves around it. So there was a group of enthusiasts on some European countries where they planted some 17,000 wallets around the world in many different locations. These wallets had something like 15 to $90 with some credit cards and a key and some notes on of the grocery bill in the the country's language. They were in French and English and Chinese and African language, and they were spread around many different parts of the world. To the surprise of people, where their funding goes beyond $600,000, they're really surprised to know the way people displayed their morality and ethical values while returning the found wallet. People really reported it to the authority and to the people, telling them that they have found something which can be precious to the owner who lost it in a taxi, in a post office, in a restaurant, in a cafe, or in a counter. And these people who reported it were asked to donate it to charity most of the time. And this was a very interesting find, and the way people live in this world, in spite of so many, negative feedback on the moral values and other ethical issues which relates to the majority of the world. What is sick is the way people run, the leaders run, the politics run. Many different issues which relates to the well-being of us. In our connection, that Guthi bill of Nepal was trying to heed the cultural values of mass, and there was a big demonstration. That was most probably the biggest demonstration after the democratic movement of Nepal, and everyone joined. And it turned out in a very positive note for the people who were there to demonstrate against the ethical values of the leaders who ruin and run the politics. So, in essence, what I observe is people have ethics, people have moral values, people try to live with the minimum things because majority of the people cannot afford and cannot even imagine going against their will to amass the fortune. So people are happy and content and they don't want to steal things from the lost wallet. They don't want to do any mischief. They don't want to make a noise. They want to stay quiet. So this is it. And this really is something which we should take from everyday's incident. There's no point being surprised or being fascinated with what you cannot have, but it's always good to make your requirements small so that you can be content with the way you live and stay happy. Bye bye. Love you all.